The pro-Palestinian student activist Mahmoud Khalil has been released on bail from a jail in the US state of Louisiana after more than 3 months in detention. Mr. Khalil was arrested by immigration agents in March. He'd been a prominent voice in protests at Columbia University against Israel's conduct in Gaza. A federal judge ordered that the Syrian-born Palestinian be freed. Mr. Khalil is a legal US resident and has not been charged with any crime. Instead, the administration invoked a rare immigration law to claim his views threatened American foreign policy. Let's get more on this with Neama Rahmani, a former federal prosecutor and now president of West Coast Trial Lawyers. Welcome to you. Thanks very much for being with us. Just explain to our viewers the background to this, first of all. Why was he arrested?
Well, Samantha, he was arrested on immigration charges, and essentially the defense is arguing that he was arrested because of his pro-Palestinian beliefs. He was leading those protests at Columbia University. But today's ruling was an issue of bail, so somewhat distinct, and bail is appropriate when someone is neither a risk of flight nor a danger to the community. And here, Khalil is a green card holder. His wife is a U.S. citizen. He has a newborn son. So he's not someone that's likely to flee the country while these immigration proceedings are pending. And as far as danger to the community, he has no criminal history. Setting aside his political beliefs, some people may not like them. That's why the judge appropriately released him on bail while this case is pending.
Yeah, he was held for 3 months. On what legal grounds could he be detained for that long without release?
Well, that's why his defense filed a habeas petition, and the government argued that the judiciary had no authority to even hear this issue because it was a national security issue. So the two bases for removal are, there's a rarely used act many years ago, subsection says that the Secretary of State of the United States can remove someone who's a non-citizen if they reasonably believe that that person harms U.S. foreign policy interests. And again, it's not commonly used, but that's what's being used here. The other argument is that Khalil lied on his green card application about some of his prior employment. And those are the bases for removing Khalil. Now, he may have won the battle, but certainly the war is ongoing. So we'll see if he's able to beat the immigration proceedings. He, of course, is arguing that he is being targeted because of his speech. And this is content-based regulation. And here in the United States, the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, applies to everyone, whether they're a citizen, non-citizen here legally, or even someone who's undocumented and in the country unlawfully.
Tell us about the reasons that he was detained. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, invoked a rarely used portion of the Immigration and Nationality Act. He argued, didn't he, that Mr. Khalil's presence in the US could pose potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences. What do you think the administration means by that?
Well, they believe that this is someone that is causing problems at American universities. And, I think the issue is potentially you can make a Title VI argument under the Civil Rights Act and say that maybe Jewish students are being harassed. But what they're arguing is that Khalil's very presence in the United States is harming America's foreign policy interests, their relationship with Israel, maybe what's going on in Gaza. But the defense is, of course, saying that this is just about freedom of speech. This isn't someone who's protesting on behalf of Israel or their right to defend themselves. Obviously, there have been counter-protesters on the other side. The defense is arguing that he is being targeted solely because of his beliefs. And of course, the government is saying that this is something that is within their discretion. There's nothing the courts can do. This is solely within the authority of the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. And the judge said, no, no, no. This is something that we can look into. If you're saying that it's a national security issue, but it's punishing someone for free speech, it's retaliatory, that's something we can step in and prevent. And that's the litigation that's going on right now.
Yeah, so take us through the next steps. What happens in the legal process now?
So he's going to be out of custody right now, which is certainly going to be good for him. He can spend time with his wife, his newborn child, and he can prepare his defense. So what his defense is going to have to argue is this is a constitutional issue. This is a free speech issue. And if the court rules that it really is a First Amendment issue, because it's a content-based regulation, that is subject to the highest level of scrutiny under American law. It's called strict scrutiny. So unless it's necessary to achieve a really compelling government interest, that arrest, that conviction, that removal, that has to be set aside. government cannot punish speech in this country, especially if it's based on content. Now, there's different types of speech restrictions like time, space, manner restrictions that are subject to a lesser standard. But if you're trying to punish someone based on their speech, and many people believe that Mahmoud Khalil is being punished because he was organizing these protests at Columbia, then I think the government is going to have an uphill battle here, and they're probably going to lose.
Okay, Neama Rahmani, thank you for your analysis.
Thanks, Samantha. Talks.